right, it's a beautiful midweek Wednesday morning, being the first day in the month of June. Glad to know we all made it through to another brand new month. And yes, it's the Lord's doing. Well, this is Business Rendezvous. On the show, we talk business, financial literacy, the economy, industries, and everything that we need to talk about to ensure that I will keep engaging all our viewers out there to see how we can make our own little contribution. Of course, seeing how the economy can move to the next level. What you should know about on the show this beautiful Wednesday morning, we shall be bringing you all the top stories. We've got a guest that will be joining us on the show later on. We shall be looking at the Nigerian air carrier. I mean, the last one we had was in 2003. That was the last time that Nigeria had something that looked like the Nigerian Airways. And since then, nothing has been heard of a Nigerian national carrier. But then the Minister of Aviation, talking about Senator Hadi Sirika, came out sometime in the month of November 2021 to talk about how the fact that the Nigerian carrier will be launching in the month of April 2022. But this is a brand new month of June, and a lot of persons have been asking, where is our Nigerian carrier? Where we shall be asking that question. We've got an expert who has been following the Nigerian economy, and he shall be lending his voice to all of that. But quickly, let's run through the business column of some of our national dailies on a Wednesday morning. Quickly, we run through what the business day has for us. Just a look at the headline of the business day. Debt service, Nigeria edges closer to Lebanon crisis. How Nigeria's debt service cost jumped in 2021. That's on the Business Day newspaper. Fuel crisis erode gains from Airlines Alliance was still there on this, talking about the Business Day newspaper. World Milk Day, why regular milk consumption is important. Nigeria's security and the general elections, okay? All these are part of how the economy, will move to the next level. Nigeria's equities gained 2.16 trillion naira, and that was in the month of May. Okay, U.S. grants Kemi Adeosun's Foundation non-profit tax exempt status is also on the Business Day newspaper. You should go check it out and get details for yourself. NNPC's emissions reduction plan opens opportunity for new energy investors. Revisiting Seplat Energy, Trip for Life initiative. Ban Ki-moon says rich countries prioritize arming Ukraine over climate. Nigeria, others benefit as Bloomberg invests $242 million in clean energy. That's also on the Business Day newspaper. Let's check the business section of this day newspaper, what it has for us. I'll quickly run through all of that. Sovereign Trust Insurance collaborates with Rotary Club on CRS for Lagos. That's social responsibility, they want to say. CBN mandates OFIs to enroll in credit risk system by August 1. And Akwa Ibom insists on private running of coconut oil refinery, bringing more Nigerians under NHIS coverage. Value of 14 bank stocks appreciate marginally by 73.09 billion naira despite decline. CBN intervention towards sustainable growth. All these are on the business section of this day newspaper. Okay. ITF gets PCB's recertification for quality management system. The incurable leakages in public finances. All right. So that's much from this day business section newspaper this morning. We quickly want to check what the Guardian newspaper, talking about the business section of the Guardian newspaper, has for us on a Wednesday morning. We quickly run through that before we check out other stuff that we have for you this Wednesday morning, being the first day in the month of June 2022. Okay. 81% of Nigerians lack meaningful internet connectivity. 81% of Nigerians lack meaningful internet connectivity. That's on the front page of the business section of the Guardian newspaper. An interesting read, you want to see? So go check it out. You'll find that's really a good time to invest on reading that particular one. Okay, we're still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, looking at the business section still. Airlines seek reforms to end shortfall of ground handlers at airports. All right, Purity unveils Tony Abraham as brand ambassador for 30 years anniversary. MD Polo Luxury Group John Obayiwana becomes first African to bag Swiss Learning Excellence Award. Okay, so that's much as far as the business section of some of our national dailies concerned this morning. Quickly now, we run through the things you should know about this Wednesday morning. One of them is the fact that Nigeria's external reserves actually declined to $38.54 billion. That's as of the month of May 2022. That's the lowest in over 7 months. That's according to data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The reserves, which of course stood at $39.01 billion as of October 11, 2021, lost $1.1 billion last month, according to data obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria website. It also rose to a high of $41.8 billion. On October 29, 2021. All right, foreign exchange reserves, asset held or reserved by a monetary authority in foreign currencies. The reserves are used to back liabilities and, of course, influence monetary policy. In January 2022, the external reserves were robust above the international benchmark of 3.0 months of import cover. In CBN's economic report of the month of January 2022, that's according to data obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Quickly, let's check outside of our shores. What you should know this Wednesday morning is the fact that Australia first quarter GDP growth beats estimates. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the Australian economy grew by 0.8% in the first 4 months of 2022, and that beat analyst forecast of 0.5%. The 13th strongest economy in the world. That's talking about the Australian economy. According to reports, recorded its second straight quarter of growth following a slight drop in the third quarter. That's talking about April and June of 2021 due to a resurgence of Delta variant of the coronavirus pandemic. However, consumption by households continued to show growth, 1.5% as against 6.4% in fourth quarter, as growth across a number of our important sectors picked up quite impressively. Sectors like transport services, hotels, restaurants, and recreation, they played an important role in this drive. Now, according to a categorized analysis, government spending at all levels increased by 2.7% compared to 0.4% in the previous quarter, while private investment increased after falling in fourth quarter, led by machinery and equipment and, of course, intellectual property products. The economy was strong enough to withstand the global supply shock that was created by the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Well, it grew by 3.3%. That's above analyst consensus of 2.9% after a 4.2% gain in the fourth quarter of 2021. Just some of the things we want to share with you this Wednesday morning. Quickly, we run through what we shall be looking at later today. Well, is a Nigerian carrier. A lot of persons have been asking questions as to when will it come to reality. Is it a mirage or is it a reality in the waiting? It's a big question a lot of persons are asking. And I actually saw a tweet yesterday where someone said, where is our national carrier? Well, a senator had a senator as the Minister of Aviation. He came out to say sometime in November 2021 that we should be expecting the Nigerian carrier to take off in the month of April. This is June. So you want to ask yourself the big question, what are we still waiting for? Do we actually need a national carrier? I mean, going by the fact that it's still supposed to be a public-private partnership according to the minister, but then 95% for the individuals, that are supposed to invest in this, and government is just supposed to own a paltry sum of 5%. So you want to ask yourself, why do we then need a national carrier? We shall be asking all of those questions later on the show when our guest joins us this morning. But for now, remember that at 9:30, we'll bring you the news update. Before all of that, let's let you into the business world, talking about the latest trendy as far as the business scene is concerned. Some of the headline here says, Discos, Gencos, others revenue shortfall rises to 1.6 trillion naira. Nigerians buy 68.19 million SIMs, and that's in 4 years. Customs firm signs $3.2 billion digitization deal. Federal government targets $176 billion revenue. Kenya raises interest rate to 7.5% in May 2022. That's first time in 7 years. Okay. So, though Nigeria's recent hike in monetary policy rates to 13% is expected to usher in sellers who could be considering higher yields in the fixed income market, the nation's equity market has this year disconnected from global market rout. The market has maintained bull run year to date following new listings, oil price rally, better than expected companies' full year earnings, and dividend payments, as well as their positive first quarter scorecard. Market data as of last month of May 27 showed the value of listed stocks has risen to 68.86 trillion naira. And the market continues to impress investors who are seeing encouraging signs of Nigeria's economic recovery. Okay, so Nigeria's gross domestic product grew by 3.11% year-on-year in real terms. That's in the first quarter of 2022. And equities markets key performance indicators, the Nigerian Exchange Limited, talking about the NGX, all share index and market capitalization, have also risen from year open lows of 42.716.44 points and 22.30 trillion naira to 58 trillion 85 billion 3.3 points, and of course 29.157 trillion naira as at May 27. Also, the stock market positive return year to date has increased to 26.61%. In first quarter, the NGX listed on its platform new issuance worth of 1.701 trillion naira and euro bonds of $4 billion. These issuances listed across both equities and bond markets are integral in deepening the markets, improving liquidity and tradability, as well as increasing access to capital to fund growth initiatives. Now let's look at the debt capital market records growth. According to FMDQ Securities Exchange Financial Market Monthly Report for last month of April, or rather 2 months ago, April shows that turnover in FMDQ market for the month ended April 29, 2022 was 19.34 trillion naira, and that represented a month-on-month and year-on-year increase of 27.57%, and that's 4.18 trillion naira and 19.53%. Okay, that's from turnover in March 2022 and April 2021 respectively. Total turnover for sports and derivatives market was 15.86 trillion naira and 3.48 trillion naira respectively in April 2022. Okay, so we'll move away from there now, and let's quickly run through the story concerning leading banks by total asset growth as the latest analysis coming through this new month. There is a latest report coming through on how the banks are really faring. We shall be letting you into that now. Okay, it's got to do with bank assets. Well, the Nigerian banking sector recorded impressive growth in the first quarter of the year 2022. Well, printing a 23.24% year-on-year increase in the real GDP. And this is also evidenced by the performance of 12 commercial banks listed on the Nigerian Exchange. We take a look at them based on popular metrics to determine the leading players in the industry. I'm talking about the banking sector. Yeah, the banking sector. Okay, now according to data, the 12 banks posted an aggregate profit after tax of 275.27 billion naira. The banking sector, yes, that's in the first quarter of 2022, and that's represented a 14.8% 7% increase compared to 239.95 billion naira posted in the corresponding period of 2021. The banks were also able to record improved bottom line despite the CBN monetary policy leaning towards a dovish direction, and that is keeping interest rate low. However, the Apex Bank in its latest MPC meeting has raised the benchmark interest rate from 11.5% to 13%, and banks could be seeing a rise in their interest earnings going forward. Now, for this analysis, the first quarter 2022 results of the following banks were tracked: Access Holdings, FBN Holdings, FCMB, Fidelity Bank, GT Holdings, Stanbic IBTC, Sterling Bank, Union Bank, UBA, Unity Bank, Wema, and Zenith Bank. EcoBank was not considered in the analysis as the bank operates sufficiently in other markets besides Nigeria. The key metrics considered in the analysis were total asset growth, loan book growth, the profit growth, the cost-to-income ratio, and return on average equity. Now, leading banks by total asset growth, the analysis of the combined assets of the 13 listed banks, we're talking about EcoBank not being included in this particular category, reveals that the total assets increased by 6.7% from 57.67 trillion naira recorded as of December 2021 to 61.54 trillion naira in the review period. The total asset of the listed banks amounts to over 85% of Nigeria's annual real GDP. We are talking about 2021 estimate. The increase in the total asset of the banks indicates a stronger financial position. Now, all the banks under study recorded an improvement in their total asset base. Okay, so we look at the banks by total asset growth between March 2022 and, of course, December 2021. Fidelity Bank recorded a gain of 22.9%, followed by Zenith Bank, 18.9%, and then there is Stanbic IBTC, 13% increase. Fourth position is Unity Bank, plus 9.7% increase, and Wema Bank, plus 7.7% increase. Okay. For the upshot, Fidelity Bank tops the list of best performance in terms of asset growth in the first quarter of 2022 after its total asset increased by 22.9% from 2.89 trillion naira recorded as of December 2021 to 3.56 trillion naira by the end of March 2022. Leading banks by customer deposit growth. Now, the customer deposits remain one of the most competitive items in the banking sector, since it is from deposits that loans are issued out and other investments are also made. The total customer deposits stood at 40.34 trillion naira as of the first quarter of the year, and that represented an 8.7% increase compared to 37.1 trillion naira recorded as of the previous quarter. The bank leading the charge in terms of value is Access Bank. Now, Access Bank accounts for 18.5% of the total share. But Zenith Bank tops in terms of growth. All right? So, Zenith Bank in terms of growth, 27.8%. That's what they record to be on top. And Fidelity Bank recorded 18% increase. Unity Bank, 17.4%. Wema Bank, 8.8%, and Access Bank 7.8%. For Zenith Bank, they recorded the highest growth in customer deposits, followed by Fidelity and Unity Bank with 18% and 17.4% increasing respectively. Only Union Bank recorded a customer deposit decline in the first quarter of 2022. Okay, so that's how the banks actually fared in terms of growth and analysis for the month of May. Okay, so let's focus attention now to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, talking about Muhammadu Buhari, who is out of the country now all the way to Spain. The President yesterday departed Abuja for Madrid in Spain. The President is actually on a state visit at the invitation of the Spanish President, talking about Pedro Sanchez. And during that visit, both leaders are expected to discuss issues around cooperation on energy, trade and investment, transportation, public health, and sport development. Others include issues around extradition and transfer of convicted persons. All right? Mutual legal assistance as well, cultural matters, cooperation towards fighting crime and enhancing security, as well as issues affecting dependent of diplomatic staff. The Nigerian leader is also expected to use the opportunity to meet with the head of state of the Spanish nation, His Majesty King Felipe VI, during his engagement with both leaders. The Nigerian president will discuss issues of mutual interest to both countries, which will expectedly result in the signing of agreement and memoranda of understanding on a wide range of topics geared towards further enhancing the bilateral relations between the two nations, talking about Nigeria and Spain. All right, President Buhari will also be the special guest at an investment forum jointly organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce, the Ministry of Trade, and the Confederation of Employers, CEOE, where the president will speak to the gathering of top members of the Spanish business community and their Nigerian counterpart on the investment opportunities in Nigeria and ways of expanding the volume of trade, as well as further collaborating for the development of the economies of both countries, talking about Nigeria and Spain. Now, President Buhari will be accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Yama, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adeniyi Adebayo, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, is also with them. Minister of Interior, Rauf Aribishola, is with them as well. Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dare, and the Minister of State for Health, Olorunibe Mamura, is also with them. Other members of the delegation are the National Security Advisor, Babagana Muguno, Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Rufai Abubakar, and Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NICAM, Abike Dabiri Erewa. The president is expected back in the country on Friday, June 3. Okay, so these are just some of the stories making the rounds. It's Business Roundabout. Please stay with us on Independent Television. We'll be right back. Okay, so from Benin City, south of Nigeria, thank you so much for staying with us. Just a quick wrap, which Daisy Luyasiki did there, talking about the news updates. It's the first edition of Business Roundabout right here on Independent Television. Let's quickly move straight to the interview segment now, where we have an economist in the studio with us, Dr. Osaze Yoha. Will be the one to help us dissect the reason. I mean, I know he doesn't work in the Ministry of Aviation, but he's a close watcher of the national economy, and he'll be able to help us to have a clearer understanding as to why what is happening, especially as it concerns the aviation sector is concerned in Nigeria, why what is happening now is currently happening. Now, since 2018, there has been an aviation master plan from the Federal Ministry of Aviation as to when the Nigerian national carrier is to take full effect. Okay, logo has been made, series of advertising here and there, and then they came out to say, okay, we are looking at the month of April where this will take its full effect. This is June, and today is June 1st. One would have expected that by now we should be floating our own national carrier. What's happening?
It's I'm as stunned as you are too. Yeah, it's just as you rightly said, November
2021.
Yeah, November 2021.
Yes.
I think on the 30th, just after a FEC meeting. Yeah. You know, the Minister of Aviation,
yes,
Mr. Hadi Sirika, came out to address the press and told us that by April 2022, very categorically, that will be floating our national carrier. Yeah. In fact, this is not the first time. Okay. In 2016, the whole idea of starting floating an airline, a national carrier, started in 2015. Immediately this administration came on board. In 2016, the president set up a 13-man committee to look at the possibility, create a roadmap, then also investigate why the Nigerian Airways failed, so that they avoid all the reasons why it failed. So since 2016, there was another 2 years. Probably they were still doing all the underground work for 2 years. That's 24 months. Yeah. That's huge. A private airline, it just takes airpiece and I think 3 months. It's to come on board. Yeah. To think. So 2 years, 2018, as you rightly said, they floated the logo in London. People also criticized that fact, that why London? Why take it to London? Then so much money was used to sponsor the designing. In fact, it was in the news that about $600,000 was spent, which is about 183 million naira was used just for designing the logo. Another worry too was that the consultancy for designing that logo was given to a Bahrain company, Bahrain company. Something you can do in Nigeria. A company called From 6 Communications. That's From 6, not number 6 Communications. It was on Twitter. They put it there on Twitter. And 600, that's about 183 million. But later, to be fair, the minister came out and said it's not up to that. It's just about 90 million naira, which is also high.
So there's so much money was spent on that.
And the problem I have with that is this. Just the year before that, 2018, the president signed an executive order on local content. He said that all MDAs, the law stated that all MDAs must give preference to local content in their procurement of goods and services. In fact, specifically item 4 of that, that executive order specified on ICT that at least 40% of the expenditure of any MDA should have content, local content. That's local manufacturers should be given preference. So this was all for a Bahrain company. So there have been so much issues with right from the onset. And 2018, as you said, to 2021. So 2018 to 2021, nothing happened. In fact, just 2 months after the logo was launched, July 2018, September 2018, the government came out on Twitter and said that we regrettably announced that we are suspending takeoff of the aircraft. So it took another 3 years. 2021, the minister said this, that by April 2022, they will take off. We'll start having our flight in the air. But I think by January, the minister also came and said the Omicron variant that came out in December affected. How that did, I don't know. So April, and he said by June, which is next month, so we'll be seeing the carrier. So we are still hopeful that by June we'll have the national carrier. But the logistics around it, they've explained that it's going to be public-private partnership, that they will start with 3 airlines. 3 aircraft.
3 aircraft,
leased aircraft. They are not. They don't have the money.
To buy.
But in 2017 budget, it's important to state that 2017 budget, 555 million was budgeted and disposed and dispatched for the national carrier. 555 million. 200 million was also budgeted for consultancy services. So probably that's what they used for the logo. Then in 2018, even when the national carrier did not set up, 50 million was also budgeted for the national carrier, 20 million for consultancy services. So you see that money is still budgeted for a carrier that we still are yet to see. So they've told us June 2023. So let's be hopeful. They say it's a private government, public-private partnership. 5% will be government-owned.
In fact, that's really what I want to talk about. I mean, if the Minister of Aviation is saying, okay, yes, what we want to do is not a government alone run enterprise, all right? We want to have a situation where it will be the private sector that will partner with the government so this thing can be run smoothly. But then, just like you said, I mean, you rightly noted, 95% to the private hands, 5% to the government. Paltry 5%, some persons want to say. So I don't know what kind of partnership really are we looking at. Is that really a partnership, or can't we just say we are just handing it over to the private sector?
Yeah, the risk of playing the devil's advocate. The reason that has been given is that they are trying to avoid government interference, which was one of the bane of Nigerian Airways. So that 5% is just for the government's regulation, supervisory role, and so on. 46% will be for Nigerians, so Nigerians can buy shares. 49% will be foreign equity. That's the explanation given. But you know, we have become now so used to this feeling of government is not good in running business. That's the kite that is always thrown at us, that government are bad business people. So and we have now almost made the government of Nigeria look like a spoiled brat. You know, they cannot do anything. So
they can't take responsibility.
Exactly, just like a spoiled brat. He crashes your car at the museum ground in Ring Road. You say, I don't mind him. That's how he is. You give him another car. Please avoid. So we are just petting the government. But we have government who run businesses in other countries successfully. Their aircraft, look at Ethiopia Airlines. It's 100% owned by government.
Absolutely.
100%. In fact, Ethiopia Airlines owns 20% shares in Eritrea Airline, another government run airline. Eritrean Airline, a small island.
Yeah.
It has 80%, the government in an Eritrea Airline. Emirates is owned 100% by the government of Dubai. Etihad Airways is owned 100% by the government of Abu Dhabi. Algeria Airways, Egypt Airlines, Mozambique Airlines, Uganda Airlines. These are airlines. You can confirm it on that. They are 100% owned by government. These are very high-profile airlines that fly our airspace. So I don't see any reason why the Nigerian government cannot take responsibility. Nigeria Airways was an embarrassment to this country. You see, from 1980, the Nigeria Airways was set up in 1958. Mm-hmm. By 1961, it was 51% government owned. By 1961, government had 100% shares in Nigeria Airways.
Yes.
But we know what led to it. Corruption. We had government interference. You have politicians fly these airlines without paying. You had political interference. You had corruption, putting hands into into the resources of the airlines without accountability. You had overstaffing. That was a major problem. You know, government institutions. So in a private firm where you have 10 people, because it's a government firm, you load politicians and relatives, 100 people into the system.
Yes.
So you are making, your expenditure is now higher than your income. Those were the bane of Nigeria. In 1983, Nigeria Airways had about 30 aircrafts in their fleet. 30, a whopping 30. In fact, at the time, they were paying on cash. There's hardly any airline operator that buys aircraft on cash. You buy, and you lease, or you buy on credit. But Nigeria Airways was paying on cash to show you how liquid the company was. But by 2003, when the airline was liquidated, they had just one aircraft. As at 2000, from 30. So what happened? At that time, they had $528 million in debt. So that's the bane of the Nigerian economy, corruption. So if their thinking is that the way to ensure or get away government's hand from the airline, maybe that's the reason why they are saying 5% shares. But I don't know, whichever way it goes, if it's just 5% shares, they feel that that's the right way to run it, fine, good enough for them.
But do you actually think we need a national carrier?
Yes, I think that's a discussion that has been in the public space for a while. The fact that it seems like a luxury commodity or a luxury good airline that is for the big men and so on. So that has been the argument. But when you want to look at it on an economic scale, I think there are reasons to also feel that a national carrier is important. For just like manpower, look at the engineers. It's on record that we don't have reputable trained airlines engineers currently in the country. You have airlines taking their aircraft for C-check. C-check is something that is done every 18 months. You have airlines going abroad to carry out their C-check. It was being done in Nigeria in the 70s, in Murtala and Mohammed Airport. But you have airlines going to do their C-checks abroad every 18 months for £2.5 million. That's about 500 million naira every 18 months. So why? Because we don't have the facility here, an MRO facility, that's maintenance, repairs, and overhaul facility in Nigeria. So what a national carrier does is that it helps to give a platform to train your manpower. You know, no private airline would give you the opportunity to train. They go for ready-made engineers, ready-made pilots. So what a national carrier would do is that you have an opportunity for IT. Those who read aeronautics engineering in the university, they have a platform to come and do their IT, train pilots, train engineers, train even air hostesses. So it serves as a basis for manpower development. Also, we could also say it provides security for our foreigners who are coming to the country. Imagine a foreigner coming to country, he will be at peace. He will feel more relaxed riding or flying in your national carrier. It's like I'm guaranteed by the Nigerian government. There's this feeling of embassy on the wing, on the wings. So there's this relaxation, this trust they have in the government carrier than a private, and so it creates trust. Then for reputation also, a national carrier gives you prestige. It gives you a reputation. It's like an image making. Just like, look at the way Nigeria has been so castigated on all fronts. People see Nigeria, insecurity and so on. So imagine you have in Nigerian Air, an aircraft in Heathrow Airport in Britain, a very fine Boeing 777 aircraft in Heathrow in Britain or in New York Airport. So you have this image that people look at the plane. you know, that there's this feeling of, this Nigeria is not as bad as they say. Just because they are seeing an aircraft, a fine aircraft. So it just creates an image, a reputation, prestige, goodwill. So that's another thing. There are ancillary services, it helps. Catering service, you go to the airport, you see, there are consultancy firms, there are bodies who provide these catering services. Lease. In fact, that's one thing we don't have. Most airlines hardly have their own plane. You lease. So that's business for leasing companies. When you have a national carrier. You have insurance companies too. They could also make business from that, and so on. Catering services. It provides employment. Air hostesses and pilots and so on. So there are so many reasons that a national carrier could, even the return on investment. Airline business is a very expensive business. I don't know if you know Richard Branson, one of the major investors in it. He said one time that if you want to quickly become a millionaire from a billionaire, go into the airline business. So there's really no high return on investment as such. There's profit, but it's not as high. That's probably as starting a hotel or a filling station or something. A plane, the cheapest one which most airlines use, 737-700, is about $90 million. That's over 240 billion naira just for an aircraft. The engine, you have time. You hear sometimes you hear that there was a plane crash, a bed crash gets into the engine when the plane is on the air, and it crashed the engine. So a new engine is about 24 million for an aircraft. That goes into almost 12 billion too. So you see that aircraft business is a very expensive business. We talked about aviation fuel the last time, where we are told an aircraft, Boeing 737, uses about 4 liters per second, just a second, 4 liters. And we're told that a liter is about 700, and so you use 2,800 naira for just a second. So you can imagine a flight of 1 hour. So you see that return on investment. So government is good. Government involves itself, so that it's like a social service for the people. So there are so many reasons why we can.
Dr. Saze, with all the figures we've been given now, is this something that that the government of the day can actually sustain? And then you also talked about the fact that overstaffing was one of the bane of the then Nigerian Airways. The Minister of Aviation says that the national carrier will employ up to 70,000 employees, and that's, if you look at that number, it's even much more than the civil servants in the country.
I think they are just trying to, in my mind, I'm thinking that maybe he's just trying to give reasons or to justify the necessity for a national carrier. You know, most times when we are trying to fly a kite, we try to create this impression for people's buying, so that they feel like it's an employment gainer. That's what people want to hear. But I don't think it's going to, because they've said that the first 2 years is just going to be local flights. 3 aircraft leased. So how many pilots or air hostesses do you have 3 aircraft for? So, but it said that in the next 5 years they hope to get 30 aircraft in their fleet. So maybe it's a long-term projection. Maybe thinking of the 5-10 years. So probably he has to break it down in how many years, in 30 years, in 40 years. But I can guarantee you that in the first 2 years, 3 aircraft. I don't see it going beyond probably 2 or 1,500 staff.
Okay, so we should keep our fingers crossed that national carrier will come into reality. We should keep waiting.
We hope so. It has to come. Even for tourism, you have so many tourist centers in Nigeria. It's these national carriers that help propagate this. You look at Ethiopia Airlines CNN. You get this pride when you see it being advertised on CNN. So I think it's something that the Nigerian government should look at. But for my thinking, this is an election year or penultimate year. You know, in developing countries, penultimate years to election is almost a free for all. There's really nothing that's going to happen. So I don't see this starting in June. The president has been more realistic. He said, before my administration ends, we would have a national carrier. So that seems like an open-ended statement.
So it could even be before 26th of May 2023.
It could be May 28th, midnight by 12 o'clock. So you are not holding him by anything.
Oh my word! So if we don't get it now, we don't know whether it will be part of the visions of a new administration coming on board.
Hopefully, probably it will be one of the handover. It will be on the handover notes.
Okay, all right, Dr. Osaze, thank you so much. It's always been a pleasure having you. Thank you. Okay, so business roundabout will continue shortly. We want to look at the Nigerian exchange, how it started trading. the week was rather bearish. Okay, bearish of 3 consecutive days of gains from that was actually from last week. You know, and that saw the all share index above $4,000. Right, $4,000 basis point. A price point not traded since July 2008. So we just quickly run through the Nigerian exchange top all share I index gainers. Transex PR up plus 9.86% to close at 0.78 kobo. All right, UACN up plus 9.52% to close at 11.50 kobo. Jaiz Bank up plus 8.97% to close at 0.85 kobo. That's for the top gainers. Okay, quickly we run through the top all share index losers. Presco down 10% to close at 162 naira. UPL down 8.77% to close at 2 naira 60 kobo. Okay. All right, that's the much we can take this morning on the show for time's sake. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow to bring another interesting perspective as far as the business environment in Nigeria is concerned. Don't forget, this is a commercial program. All right, make sure you're part of it. Take advantage of everything we talk right here. We talk the economy, financial literacy. We talk industries and how you also can also learn and make little contribution to how the economy grows to the next level. I am Dennis Ofik. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday morning.